All right, it's happening right now, right in front of you. Someone is expressing outwardly an intense emotion. It may be anger, it may be sadness, it may be joy, it may be love, it may be rage, but it is happening around you and you are the only person in the vicinity and the universe is requiring you to respond. What are you gonna do? So as many of you know, I am not intrinsically empathetic. In fact, a few years ago, I was in a situation in which I realized how much I lacked in not just empathy, but my ability to respond in situations that required that empathetic response, that emotional response, right? And not only did I see my deficit in these areas, but I realized clearly that if I were going to move down the progression of life and do the things that I wanted to do in life, that this would come up again and it would come up again and it would be a blocker to the things that I wanted to do in specific areas. So these are 3 basic principles you can apply to a variety of situations that require an empathetic response. The number 1 thing I would start with is asking an open question. You likely need to get some more information on the situation and buy yourself some time. Let's be honest. Open questions require more than just a yes or no response, so that gives your fellow human time to elaborate on what's actually going on. So, how do you do it? Well, first you acknowledge the emotion so it's not super weird, and then second, you open yourself up to listening. Jackie, you seem so excited. Is there anything you want to share with me? Or, Bill, you look really uncomfortable right now. I'm here if you need to share anything. So people have emotional autonomy, which means they can either choose to share or not share things with you. So when you're phrasing these questions and, these open questions, don't just go in and be like, hey, Bill, I see you're upset. Tell me what's going on right now. Or, hey, Jackie, I need to know what you're going through because it's really intense. Don't demand the response, but offer the person the ability to respond in a safe environment. Number 2 is seek to understand. Understanding is everything, and with complex reflective listening, it's a way to kind of trick your brain into actually paying attention. If you're like me and someone's talking about emotional things, the tendency is to kind of space out, and then all of a sudden they're done and you're like, what happened? Oh gosh, yes, absolutely. And you give some kind of half-assed response and it's not gonna cut it when it really matters, okay? So complex reflective listening is different than simple reflective listening. So simple reflective listening just means that you're basically kind of rephrasing what the person said to you and just, you're saying it back to them, whatever they said. And that's okay. That lets the person know that they've been heard, which has some value to it. Complex reflective listening is different because it requires you to understand and hear the information enough until you get to a point where you can actually interpret it and give it context and then give it to that person back with some additional value. So since complex reflective listening requires you to infer some context, an easy way to do this is just ask yourself, what is this person feeling right now as they're speaking to you? And then synthesize that emotion with the words that they are saying. So listen, validate, and synthesize a reflection. All right, so first you listen, right? Someone says, I just don't know what to do. You validate. You can say something like, it's okay to not always know the answer. And then there's different ways to synthesize a reflection. So I'm gonna go over 3 ways really quickly. One is that you infer the context. So in that scenario, I could say, wow, it really sounds like you've exhausted your options. Versus simple reflective listening, which would just be like, if someone said, I just don't know what to do, you'd just be like, sounds like you really don't know what to do right now. See, it's not as valuable, okay? It's not as valuable of a response. So we have inferring context. The second one is amplifying. And I had an amazing psychotherapist once say to me, sometimes people just want you to bitch along with them. That's all they want in a therapy section. So in the scenario of someone saying, I just don't know what to do, your amplified response could be something like, this sounds like one of the hardest things you've ever come up against. And then third, my favorite, is reframing, because it's easy to me, okay? And I think it's very effective. You just give the words that they're saying back to them, but with a positive spin, also inferring context. So a reframed response to the phrase, I just don't know what to do, could be something like, it sounds like you're ready to take a completely different approach to this. All right, so let's use another example, a happy one, an excited one. Someone comes up to you and they're all excited and they're like, I'm having a baby. First step, you validate. That's amazing. Next, your methods of response. This has to be one of the most exciting moments for you. Next, you can amplify. I can't imagine hearing better news. And also, you can still reframe in this situation, right? So, wow, that opens up such a new world for you to explore. And the last step in this empathy process is an affirmation. Affirmations are a great way to end a conversation or an interaction on a positive note. You don't want to do all this work and then you get to the end and then you're sort of like, all right, good luck with the baby, and then, dip. When you affirm someone, you are telling them that they are fully capable of doing and following through with something in a positive direction. And when someone believes in you, it often increases your motivation and just willingness to try to push through. All right, so how do you do it? Well, you construct your affirmation around either a positive characteristic or a positive direction that person is going. You can say something like, you really handled yourself well in that situation. Or it's clear you're willing to take a creative approach to find a solution. You're just basically finding a good quality about them and just bringing more notice to it and saying, hey, look, this is a good thing you can do. Feel good about that other human. You're doing a good thing. All right, so quick recap on empathy. 1, you want to ask an open question which allows the person to respond with more information, give you some more context, and give you more than just a yes or no answer. 2, you want to seek to really understand what that person is going through, what they're feeling emotionally, and you want to synthesize a response from that either infers something, amplifies something, or reframes something that they said so that they know you're listening, paying attention, and being a good fellow human. And 3, you want to end with some kind of affirmation that lets them know that they are capable of figuring the thing out, that they are a capable human. They just have to be willing to do the thing. And leave things on a positive note. So there you go. I'm always just in awe when I'm around someone who is so emotionally proficient around others and who can just respond so beautifully. They're true artists, in my opinion. I hope you enjoyed these tools for your toolbox. The link on the blog where I wrote about all this stuff is linked below in the description box. I will see you guys in my next video. Please like if you liked the video, subscribe if you have not already. I will see you next time and we'll talk about more things. Okay, bye. I got a puppy in the process. Look, guys, see what empathy does? You get puppies out of empathy.